He is calling, cross over. So I want you to sing me. I want you to sing me of the kine in the field. Of the kine in the field, milk laden and lowing. I want you to sing me of the sheep on the hill. He is calling, cross over, so I want you to sing me of the harvest needs bringing, or the grain gone to gold, or the grain stood swaying and the bread to be garnered. I want you to sing me of the beer still to brew. He is calling, cross over. There are songs needing singing. There are songs that my mother knows, though weaker her voice. Though weaker her voice, she has taught us the melodies. I need you to sing me the songs she knew. He is calling, cross over, so I want you to sing me of the kinder asleep, of the baby in arms, of the baby in arms and her warden around her. The warden of spirit singing songs to my soul. He is calling, cross over, and again I must go. One more time I must go, as so often before. As so often before now I must ask you to sing me of the way that brings me there and brings me home. I will not return just once. But till then, bring me home. Hello. It's Friday for this is Poetry Show. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for tuning in to listen. I'm reading some poems of my own and then a couple of poems of a friend in lieu of having a special guest. And the poems today, I think, of contacts with the other world, perhaps. We're all other worlds. And in them, the only thing that's real is the contact between them. That's the moment that we're in, that's the place where we are, that point of contact. This one is called Hymn of the Sea. He was rolling a little in the waves. I could see that much from the cliff top. Bare-chested and green-trousered, like the sea was nosing him to shore, faithful thing. But hard to shift, he would fall back, a loyal one himself, to the blue and grey beneath the white spray. His muscles seemed all surrendered, like the weeds dancing on the current. I never saw such a bulk of power given up. I wondered, could he possibly be drowned? Running to the downward path, dug into chalk, imagining the scrape the shale and shells would make, the water in his lungs. Slowed by speed upon the pebble reach, and shorter than the rise, the journey hid the sodden man, until a crest and slide avalanche of slipping heels and scuffed hands brought me to the flat sand of low tide, to a skin made iridescent by the sea, and swelling and enticing shoulders flung wide. My call was pitiful like gulls, my grip insufficient to surround his wrist. My push was made pathetic by the failures of the sea. My eyes would not accept the shine around his thigh and knee, bright scale gleaming. But pushing palm touch upon his skin, soft with salt, giving just a little. They burn me now, my hands. And as I fell below the great wave that came at last and bore him all the way. I saw his face, the mouth I'd meant to blow my life into, the gills upon his neck. He never needed breath from me at all. I might have liked, though, to have kissed the sea upon his lips before he went, to no avail. And this is on a similar theme, I guess. A contact with the other. This again, the creature of the sea, a merman. His was a rough touch, surprising, though smoothly given. He took in hand parts of me he did not have. Fierce green in the light, shoulder in the small of my back, fingers ere locking me, lifted from my raiment, wet threads dripping from my skin. He filled me like water, slipping in, unfamiliar. I had never learned to swim, though he had never learned to drown. Dribbling bubbles down, and I wonder to what depth, as the wave strips back away. Rough touch of sand, there's a back of my mind unremembered, wanting to know. He acted out of love, scraping his tail on the seashore. Merman. Are we? How you out there? It's the way of it here that I can't tell, really, if anybody's watching. It doesn't show me who you are, unless perhaps you send me a message or a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Elf. He can have a tender hand, strength restrained, like a friend with you, not fixing you. I fall into it gradually, as water fills a hollow from below, not knowing the end to surrender. And I turn to his face in inches, touch of stubble, lips much softer than mine, kisses where I've bitten. His eyes a mirror clear, daring my reflection to jump in, so the thorn I'm suspended on hurts like condensation. This is the wealth in my heart he is handing me. Leaning back into his chest, moved by his breath, by the slight chuckle of stomach. I wonder if I might stir other movement, lower. Can I surrender that much? Enter the forest. There are trees. There are spaces in between them. Elf. Now my kind of virtual special guest today is Mandisa Apena. I like to read from her book here, which is called Twice as Bitter. She doesn't know I'm reading this, but I hope she doesn't mind. I met her a few years ago. Someone quite special. And I like to read one that's called Panic Girl. Look at me. A dirty oil slick between my thighs. A perfect duskness. A warm shadow. A magical hush of sharp elbows, sharp hips, a crazy piece. A face that'll glow, yearning. A tongue. Oh, what a tongue. A tongue bloody and cut from words I found open, littered in the gutter, and took upon myself to hide inside me. Because I do not do well with the words that were fed to me from my mother's breast, as she drank from her mother's. Words like dulcet and mellifluous and kitchen curtain. Tastes like a white mucus gloss, tastes like my mouth shut. I am a thing with dark eyes. I will hold your stare, a wonder at the earth, a bed that I want you, shimmering, I want you. A collective of these things that you will put in your box. All precious, and sealed tightly with a knowing blink. And on a theme of meeting, contact with another, her poem, Watching Jupiter. I believe her to be Jupiter, king of the skies, on her bed like a sacred god of colour. And what a wretched halo around her skull. Morning up and around the galaxy she goes, greetings with enigmatic eyes. I'll watch her tentatively from the place the sun casts stark characters, flirting from the window. Now here comes the merry water chariot, pulled by Charon, carries her laughter far, far. She's transformed death, and her beauty has escaped it. It does her bidding now, her fate in hands of no man. We go along a path. She pinpricks the earth with gentile feet, crushing wild mushrooms in between her unforgiving flesh. But she'll save some for later, and we'll digest this, the remnants of a rampant forgotten garden that she's too absent-minded to tend to, and she'll serve it with a simmering sigh. As the moon rises and starts its slow moaning aria, she'll dance bare in a pooling light. Europa, Callisto, Io, Ganymede, summoned, sway, move, catch in her body shaking. I hear her cool glance, cool call for me. It calls, but only a whisper. Carousel magenta lights up her room as we retreat there, hungry for the cover of curtains and nakedness. I am here, and I know. She breathes beautiful into her lover's lips, every one of them in long burning succession. All the while, the indigenous summer that resides within her blinds me with a luminescence and strikes envy into hearts of gods, because it can daze the quickest clarity with a slow smile and a softer lower, kiss me. 2 from the quite wonderful Mandisa apena, and twice as bitter. I think it might still be available, I don't know, but seek it out, seek her out. She also goes by the name of Lola Black. Some encounters with magic in these next few. The first are perhaps too much bitten off in this tale of necromancy and calling up the dead to ask their wisdom. Talk of the dead. A vaulted cellar. One hooded eye beside another hooded eye, where they bring the fallen flesh to lie the bones together. The resting place of all who die, wrapped in linen, last words given, sealed away from the unrelenting sky. A chasm unforgiving, a shady rift lapping in the heart, silent sneering lips forced apart to taunt the living. Still the necromancer brings his art into the deep, the world asleep, to steal some wisdom and, as he thinks, depart. Around him sweep such unseen skirls, the veil is fraying. Guardians of hidden worlds are swaying, shadows leap, skeletal hands point to heaven, praying, leave us so. You cannot know what the speakers of the world beyond are saying. But candle glow and incantations deep, compelling gestures of command and willful spelling, blood of crow dripped upon a skull's lips, swelling brings a voice stripped of choice, with ghastly vomits gush of telling. May the dead rejoice, we have at last someone to hear, someone wise enough to bear the empty noise that all the other living tear. The necromancer gets his answer wrapped in unrelenting fear, where he stands, where all the dead may know him, the visions they would show him in spite of his demands, the world excruciate below him, caught in torment the briefest moment, the hooded eyes overthrow him, a sacrament that few amongst the living ever guess. A blessing from the mouths of ghosts, possessed even as it went. The man's distress turning to a kind of brittle laughter, then a kind of gentle quiet after, hard to express. In a vaulted cellar, one hooded eye against another hooded eye, where the fallen flesh is brought to lie and the bones gather. Wiser, perhaps, not to seek to command the dead, but to find one deep enough and wise enough to hold you as you go. Perhaps a seeress. In this cavern, all hung around with holiness and warm shadows, she has set furs of wolf and bear to seat her guests and for their sleep. She has blown into the air a gentleness to keep us from the cold, and there is sweetness within it that gives strength and enfolding comfort. There is no fire. She keeps revealing silence. But one is not needed here. Later I will know that the burning wings of release are flame enough. I have been here before. All my life, it seems, though often I'm away. She has my name, and hers is always in my mouth, behind my lips. She is aware. While I, incomplete, must bring my question to her, she bids me not to speak it. Not until I have heard the answer. Then all will be clear. There's a second part to that one. But before I do that, I shall speak to a dark goddess. Within a circle, chalked in 5 and bound by fire, salt and air, all elements of blood, I thought of my need. Still I sat, all I had become, facing to a wall, or was it more a veil? My face was set here and now. Alone with every sense of me drawn in, like a breath caught inside a corpse, there was a scream as the time stood erect, waiting. Bubbling up a word like a drowned man rising from a mere, dropping from my gibbet mouth the question clear. When the answer came, like the beat of a resurrection, a gun to chase the devils, I wondered what they'd heard to convict me so. Had I called to lust, to selfish avarice, my imperfect understanding called to God? Snip went the scissors and my mind stopped. Sweep of a wing and my eyes closed. Press of a bosom, soft flesh and my mouth. Wakening, chalk scuffed by a kick, salt spilled to the hair on my thigh, fire drowned in blood. Her face seen everywhere. She will not give me her lap. Not yet. First, I must stand and imagine her gone, staring into the woolen darkness. Something of the emptiness. How my eye snatches out what light there is, and that lack calls up through a creaking chin, through eyes that blister, and the hollow roar, a stuttered name that summons irrevocably the gut's downpour. This is the only sound she will allow, muttered from a jaw that judders. Lips have no business here. Until she presses hers and seals the mouth, and all the fire turns into a phoenix cloak of feathers licking up from captive shoulders. Belly floating on the blackened air, legs retrieving at last the ground. She sails me down, and on her thigh melts me back into solidity. the witch's circle. Yes, you can remove that. And without it, I step into the witch's circle, head still bowed from the door. I'm wondering what you will not be able to undo, and how much will remain, if the sickness below it all will stick. I can fix on her hands, though my body cries, bosom and thigh. There is just one place she is preparing. You can move if you wish, but she is placing me so like a sigil. What flows from her skin is a snake bite, and I am feeling it pass through my blood, eating. Parts of me crumble away. When it reaches my eye, it turns inside. There are hooks in the world, and skin is so often draped in a way that encompasses more than it should. She snips, and how I fall. World, where have you gone? I only hear thunder's heart. I only feel. I only feel. And open my eyes on shapes, close them on shades blue. On my shoulder red, on my bosom and the eye. This tongue is still here. I learn it can shape the wind. This hand can help me to stand, make a friend. This wand is a fire and a check to the fire. This thigh has companions. This sickness has spilled to the floor. See, she has need for clothing. Takes what I offer. Takes a last hook from a shoulder blade, rusty and dead. Offers this silver one. Two more before we're done. Hi, Polly and Kat. Hello. I hope you're well. Hope you're good. This one concerns a seeker for wisdom, a seer, now in his age, grey hair, tired eyes, a traveller between worlds, far gone. The seer has feathers in his eyes now, so he stumbles sometimes, and it jars the dryness of his limbs, his joints. Listen to the sounds he makes. So rarely are they songs, so rarely does he leap from the high seat, grasping at spirits to carry him across to the table by the fire, to the beams held high in the upper roof. And he doesn't dance as he used. Look, he will say, supple as a willow, though his hair hangs dead as its leaves. You must believe in him still, says his daughter. He still sees the shining line, though he can't pick up his cup. Listen. I am closer to the door than I ever was, here in the thoughtless language of the dead, of the not yet born. This tongue that we share, pebble words make ripples in the water, but it is no river. Hush. He is just further from us now. But we travel his way. I'll cook, you watch he doesn't fall. And other than a reprise of my very first one, that is today's set. Reaching out, touching something other than yourself. There's another person, another world. The point of contact is everything there is. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Thank you for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed Mandisa's poems, Twice as Bitter. This is the one I began with before anybody had a chance to log on, so I repeat it now. It's called Sing Me. He is calling, cross over. So I want you to sing me. I want you to sing me of the kine in the field. Of the kine in the field, milk laden and lowing. I want you to sing me of the sheep on the hill. He is calling, cross over, so I want you to sing me of the harvest needs bringing, all the grain gone to gold, all the grain stood swaying and the bread to be garnered. I want you to sing me of the beer still to brew. He is calling, cross over. There are songs needing singing. There are songs that my mother knew, though weaker her voice. Though weaker her voice, she has taught us the melodies. I need you to sing me the song she knew. He is calling, cross over, so I want you to sing me of the kinder asleep, of the baby in arms, of the baby in arms and her warden around her, the warden of spirits singing songs to my soul. He is calling, cross over, and again I must go one more time. I must go as so often before. As so often before now, I must ask you to sing me of the way that brings me there and brings me home. I will not return just once, but till then, bring me home.